Welcome to the third lesson in my belly dance course for absolute beginners. I've got some cool new moves for you today, including how to do a belly dance undulation. So let's get going. We're going to start off with our warm-up as always. In the warm-up, we're going to do a new move that I'm going to show you now. We're going to be doing a ribcage lift or an isolation. It makes it look as though we're lifting our boobs up, but actually the way that we do it is with our ribcage. So I'm going to get you to put your hands onto your ribs now and just feel them there. And what you're going to do is you're going to open and lift the ribs, and then you're going to squeeze them together. You'll feel this muscle in here relaxing and opening, and then it's going to pull together. So you're lifting and you're coming down. Now it's really important that you don't make this move happen with the shoulders, that you're not going like this. This is just way too much. It doesn't look good anyway. It's all about opening those ribs, lifting the rib cage up, and then squeezing together. So you lift and squeeze, lift and squeeze. So it looks like I'm going up and down, but you don't want to be doing this. It's all in the ribs. Okay, let's go. Let's do our warm-up, including our ribcage lift. So we're going to start off as usual by doing a little step and a touch, and a step and a touch. Just nice and relaxed and easy. Let's lift the arms up and down. And again, up and down. Up. Two more. Last one. And then let's have our feet apart. We're going to bend one knee, bend it again. Take the opposite arm down to the knee. So now we're just kind of warming up those knees and getting ourselves ready to dance. So just lifting the heart rate a little bit. Now let's reach across and across. So we get a nice little stretch and a twist, and that wakes up our back a little bit. And reach. And reach. One more set each side. And let's do our shoulders. We're going to go one shoulder back, the other one. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we're going to open the arm out and out and out. So we're warming up the shoulders and the arms now, as well as the knees a little bit. Let's do shoulder again. 2, 3, and let's go straight into the arms. So we're doing 4 of each now. Shoulders, go back. And arms open up. Let's go back to our step touch, step touch, step touch, arms coming up and down. So when we lift our arms up like this, it helps to lift our heart rate a little bit. And that's what we need to do to get ourselves ready to dance. One more time. And down. Let's go back to our knee bends. Bend one knee, bend it again, and the other one, and again. Now we're going to go into our reach across, and reach across, and reach. Okay, now we're going to bend this knee and we're going to reach up with the same arm. So now we're adding a little stretch on the side. So I'm bending the knee, my hips going straight down. If you look at me in the mirror or in the camera, you can see my hips going straight down. It's not going out. Okay, let's do step, touch, step, touch, step. And then shoulder goes back. 2, 3, 4, arm out. 2, 3, shoulder goes back. 2, 3, 4, arm goes out. 2, 3. Let's circle those hips. Remember, you want to keep your pelvis nice and level. Let's go back around the other way. Going to try a little figure of 8 now. Figure of 8 backwards. And how about a figure of 8 forwards, coming the opposite direction? So I taught all these moves in the previous lessons. So if you haven't seen those lessons yet, let's do a circle again. If you haven't seen those lessons yet, have a look. I'll put links to them down below. And back around the other way. Let's lift the arms up. Shoulders stay down when your arms come up. Okay, let's drop the head down. Chin goes to chest and up. And over to one side, and up. Over the other side. And up, looking over one shoulder. And forward, and the other shoulder, and forward. Let's do a half a circle to the front. Let's go down, and round. And down again. So we're just going to the front at the moment, just a half circle. Now let's take it around to the back, nice and slowly, take it gently, and then back around the other way, nice and gently. Whoa, just warming up that neck, and looking back. Okay, we're going to go into our rib cage isolation. So slides, forwards and back, and then lift and drop. And as I said before, I teach all these, I really break them down in particularly the first lesson. So check that out if you haven't seen that one already. Hands on your hips, knees a little bit relaxed, tummy's in, tail's tucked under. Lifting up in that rib cage, shoulders stay level. Let's go to the side and center, side and center, side and side and. Let's make it go smoothly straight through one side to the other. Well done. Try and keep these shoulders level. If you want to, put your hands on your shoulders so you can check that they're staying level. And coming back to the center. Then we're going to go forward, back to the center. Keep your knees relaxed as you go back and to the center. And let's go forward and back and forward. And back, and forward, and back. Getting ready for our next one. Let's put your hands onto your ribs. And so this is our new one. We're going to open the rib cage out and squeeze it in. And we're going to go open, squeeze, open, squeeze. Lift, pull in. Keep those shoulders nice and quiet. It's the ribs that are making this move happen. So open out and squeeze them in. Last time, open out and squeeze in. Let's finish off with our little shoulder shimmy. Again, I teach this in the previous lessons, so check them out. I've done 2 lessons before this one where I've taught all these moves. Yeah, so do check them out. You'll find them on my playlist, and I'll also put them in the links below this. Oh, sorry, the comments below. What am I talking about? The description. Okay, a little shoulder shimmy. Feet together, take a little step back. Give me that lovely, easy, relaxed shoulder shimmy. And well done. Let's very quickly remind ourselves of the figure of 8 that we learned in the last lesson. This is the upward figure of 8, but we have our feet a little bit apart, well, fairly well apart actually for this one. We're going to shift the weight over to one side. We're going to lift up, feeling that squeeze up here and where the flesh kind of pinches up, and then I shift my weight out. Now, I go over this in detail in lesson number 2. Yeah, so check that out if you haven't already seen it. And up and in, but you can give it a try now anyway. Be aware of the fact that you need to bring this hip coming up and in, and the weight shifts. You push that hip out, up, the weight shifts over to one side and then comes up, feeling that squeeze up here and shifts to the other side. We also have our other figures of 8, one that goes from the front round to the back. These are our horizontal figures of 8. So always make sure you keep your knees relaxed and your hips nice and level all the time. Going back the other way, hip is back, it goes out first and then round. That left hip is to the back, it goes out first and then round to the front. Right hip, and remember what I said in the last lesson? I said put your thoughts, your brain or your mind into your hip each time. So my right hip, my brain's going down into that right hip, I'm going out and forward. And forward. So what you concentrate on or what you think about is what you'll be able to move more easily. Yeah, just keep your focus. So let's do it. We're going to drill it right the way through, including our upwards 8s. So I'm starting with my feet a little way apart. My knees are nice and soft. My posture is good. My shoulders are down. My rib cage is level. My arms are going to frame. Let's start off with a circle. Let's do that. So keep those hips nice and level, your pelvis level. Keep your knees nice and relaxed. Make sure that your upper body stays nice and lifted. Let's go back round the other way. Keep those knees level. So you remember your hips are going outside your body. And let's go back to your favorite way, whichever way that is. We all have a favorite way. And then we'll lift our arms up, shoulders down. And bring the hands down. Remember what I say about pulling those elbows back so that your hands can go down your body. Let's go back around the other way. And lifting your arms up, shoulders down. Nice and carefully. And the elbows pull back as you go down. Let's do a horizontal figure of 8 from the front to the back. Keeping your knees nice and soft. Good posture, your rib cage lifted, your shoulders level. Trying to keep your chest facing forward. Just those hips that are twisting so you get maximum work going on in your waist, and it helps to whittle down your waist. Okay, well done. Right, settle yourself back, hips are square, both knees are bent. Take your right hip back, brain in your hip. Let's take that hip out to the side and forward. Out to the side and forward. Out to the side and forward. So we're twisting forward. Forward and forward. Again, we're trying to keep the upper body nice and quiet. Now I'm going to put my left hand down on my thigh. My right arm is going to come down. My right hand is just going to follow the flow of those hips. So it goes back and forward, back and forward, back and forward. Let's try going back and forward, back, all the way over, back, forward, back, all the way over, back, forward, back, all the way over, last time. Well done. It's a nice little arm pattern we can do there. Let's go on. I'll face you, I think, to do the upwards 8. Okay, shift the weight out to one side and squeeze up. Shift the weight over to the other side. Lift and shift. Lift and shift. Lift and shift. Lift and shift. Lift. Up. Up. All the time. I'm really feeling, this is the oblique muscles here. I'm feeling them squeezing and lifting my hip up. But remember, your heels are coming up as well. That's helping to lift that hip. And you're always making sure that the weight pushes out before it comes up so that you don't end up reversing it. A reverse is when you end up doing this way. Going this way, we're going to come out and up. So that wasn't what we wanted to do. And up and in. We're going to try lifting the arms up while we're doing this upward 8, which sounds easy. The difficult thing is when the arms then come down. I'll show you. So I'm going up with those hips, up, my arms are coming up. Yeah, that's easy. Now, what's really going to befuddle you a little bit is when your arms come down, because your hips have got to come up at the same time as your arms are coming down. And that is pretty tricky. Yeah, because what will happen as your arms come down, very often what happens is your hips will want to go downwards. So what I'm going to suggest you do is just keep thinking up, 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 up. Because the easy thing is bringing those arms down. The difficult thing is keeping your hips going up. So if in your head or out loud, you've got no one else with you, you can say it out loud, then, or even if you have got somebody with them, if they're understanding, you can just be saying up, up, up while you're doing this. So just think up and up as those arms come down. Okay? Let's do that then. Okay, here we go. Up. Now let's add those arms in. Now think up, up, up. Keep thinking up, 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 up. Let's go again. Well done. Going up, up, up. Keep thinking up, up. Say it out loud if you like. Up, up. One more time. Coming up, 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 and up, and up, and up, and up. And well done. How did that go? Let me know in the comments. If you found it tricky, if you found it easy, let me know. And of course, do ask any questions you like in the comments below and I will answer them. Also, of course, make sure that you subscribe if you haven't done already and hit the notification bell because I bring out a new video every week. Okay, let's do some hip drops. I've got a new hip drop for you today. So this is a little bit of a slightly more advanced hip drop. Normally, I say to keep your foot nice and close to the other one. Yeah, when we're doing a normal hip drop. This time we're going to put that foot a little bit further forward, which you can probably see. In fact, if I use this foot, you can see that better in the mirror. Yeah. Now, lift up the heel, as always. That will lift up your hip. We're going to drop the hip down. Yeah, but you can just see that I've got my foot a little bit further forward. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to release the foot on the second drop. Yeah, so I do one drop, and then I do a drop, I lift, and I release the foot at the same time as I'm dropping, yeah? Touch the foot back again, drop, drop and release, drop, drop and release, drop. So it's like a little tiny, people often say a kick, but you don't actually want to be doing a kick because people end up actually kicking across like that, which looks a bit weird. Now you want it to just be a little release off the floor, tiny little release off the floor. Can you see in the mirror? Yes, you can. So drop, release. Now what's happening is my hip is going down, 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 down. Keep changing sides because standing on one leg while you're doing this makes the other leg ache. Yeah, so that's why I'm changing sides and good idea for you too as well. So I've got this foot forward a little bit. I'm going down, down. Now, just a hint to help this it seem much easier. Once you've got that first release happening, all you have to do is you just have to think down, 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 and the foot will take care of itself. If you fret too much about what's happening with this foot, you'll get into a muddle. Yeah? Much, much better to just think about the hip going down, 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 and let the foot take care of itself. So honestly, I have taught thousands, I mean literally thousands of women to belly dance, and a couple of men, but mainly women. Obviously, I teach to belly dance, and this is definitely the way to think about this, is just to think about the hip. As soon as you just think about the hip, the foot will take care of itself. Same arm position as usual, so hand down by the working hip, hand up on the other one, and get used to really keeping a nice long arm up here. One of the things that we want to avoid is letting everything sag down. Now that's really, it's easy for me to say that, a little bit more difficult for you to actually do it because you're so busy thinking down here, of course everything just kind of like sinks down. But try and get into the habit, and the key with this is to keep that rib cage nice and level. You know, I talked in our first lesson about the importance of keeping the rib cage level. As soon as you let that sink down, particularly if you're looking down at your hip, sink down, your arms will come down as well. So if you can keep that rib cage level, your shoulders will stay back, and it's much, much easier to keep your arms up. Okay, let's do them. So we're going to start off with our normal hip drops. I've got my feet together, I'm lifting up my right heel, my left arm is coming up, my right arm is coming out. Let's drop. Let's go forward and back, and forward and back. Okay, heels down, let's lift up the other heel, right arm up, left arm out, let's go. Let's go forward and back. Okay, heels down, knees a little bit soft, we're going to squeeze one buttock and then the other to create our hip snap. Remember our arm pattern, it's going to come up to the side, across the chest, elbows come back and down. Keep squeezing one buttock and the other, knees are nice and soft so we get that nice sharp hip snap and a little bum workout. One more. Okay, feet apart, heels down on the ground. We're going to go one side and the other. Squeezing one buttock, then the other. Let's lift the arms up, shoulders down. Let's go squeeze and squeeze, squeeze. Doubles, squeeze, 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 squeeze. Give me a little elbow punch. Take the arms down, let's let the hands very gently follow the way that the hips are going. Okay, let's do some little shoulder isolation. So, a shoulder drop, so I'm lifting it up, going down, down, down. And the other one. Let's do one and the other. Let's go forward and back. Remember to keep these hands nice and quiet. If you want to, you can put your hands onto your thighs to keep them quiet there. Let's have our feet apart. Let's do both shoulders together, going over to one side and the other. Let's go 1, 2, 1 as we go. Let's go over. And the other way. Let's go forward and back. Like this, yeah? Keep it small. Remember, you're not going to be punching. Keep these hands quiet. It's just a nice, small, percussive shoulder forward and back. Let's take the foot back and let's lean back a little bit. Then going forward. Going back. And forward. Okay, are we ready to do our hip drop with a foot release? Arm up, foot a little bit further forward. Drop, drop, drop. Drop, release, drop, release, drop, release. Going down, 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 down. Take a step back. One foot forward, other arm up. Let's go drop, 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 drop. Drop, release, drop, release, drop, release. And change. Remember to keep this rib cage nice and lifted so that your arms can stay up. Let's get that hip going down. Going. Drop, release, drop, release, drop, release, drop, release. And change. Arms nice and lifted, rib cage nice and level, shoulders back, here we go. And drop, release, drop, release, drop, release, drop, release, drop, release, drop, release, drop, and give me a pose. We are going to do an absolutely classic belly dance move now. It's called the undulation or the camel. It was only when I went out to Egypt and actually rode on a camel out in the desert up by the pyramids that I realized why this move's called a camel, because when you're on a camel, you actually can't help but move like this. Yeah, because of the way that the camel walks and the way that it travels, you're up top and you're going like this. Yeah, so that's why this move is called a camel, I'm absolutely sure. I'm going to have one foot in front of the other. I've got both knees very, very softly bent. It's really important that you don't lock the knees out. The reason for that is that the pelvis is going to be kind of going forward and backwards. And to move the pelvis, we must have our knees softly bent. As soon as we straighten either one of the knees, that will lock the pelvis up. So keep those knees nice and softly bent. What I'd like you to do is I'd like you to get the weight in the center first of all. So feel that weight going down to the center. Now I'd like you to transfer the weight so you feel it going forwards onto that front foot. And you'll probably feel your toes at the front clenching just to sort of keep you stable there. And then you're going to go back onto your heel at the back. So just feel that weight going forward a little bit and back a little bit. Ooh, going forward a little bit. And back a little bit, yeah? So feel the way that the weight transfers onto your front foot and then the back foot. Now don't make this too big. You don't want to make anything too big, particularly when you're starting off. It doesn't need to be. It's all about doing isolations in belly dance, not making massive moves, yeah? As I go forward, I'm going to, remember we did that rib cage isolation. The reason I wanted to do that today is because we need to think of that when we're doing our undulations, our camels, yeah? So as I go forward, I'm going to lift the rib cage, and as I come back, I'm going to pull my tummy in, and I'm going to go back. I'm going to lift the rib cage, and I'm going to pull my tummy in as I go back. I'm going to lift the rib cage as I go forward. I'm going to pull the tummy in when I go back. Lift and pull in. I'm trying to get my arms out of the way so you can see what's happening here. So you don't have to lift your arms up. I'm just doing it so you can see better. I'm lifting my rib cage and I'm pulling my tummy in. I'm lifting my rib cage and I'm pulling my tummy in. Now, some of you may well find that you want to go this way. And as I said, I think in the last lesson about body shapes and certain moves, the upwards 8, for example, is easier for those of us with big hips and sort of smaller up top. So, you know, what we would call a pear shape. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid it's the same really for this move, unfortunately. So if you're more of an apple shape, so if you've got lovely slender legs, but more of a tummy and slender hips, then you may find that you want to go this way, that you want to lead with your tummy. It's it's very, very, difficult sometimes kind of getting the sense of this right. So you've got to remember that it's the rib cage that's going to lift. So it's up top that goes first. So I would say if you're more of an apple shaped type, you're going to have great boobs, much better than me. You're going to be much better endowed. So what I would suggest is I want you to think beautiful, just be proud of these boobs. Get the girls going forward and then pull your tummy in. Get the girls going forward and coming in. Make the most of this lovely big top half that you will have, that I would love to have. A good big cleavage, but instead I got hips. Lift and pull in, and lift and pull in. Remember, your weight is going forward and back and forward and back. Last of all, we're going to have the feet a little bit closer. I'm going to go back a little bit just to make sure you can see my feet. And I'm going to come up onto my toes, just a little way. So I'm just lifting my heels off the ground and I'm going to take a little tiny step forward, a little tiny step back. They're in place. They're not like making a big step, but I'm just going step, 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 step. Chest, pull in, 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 chest, pull in. And that is how we do a belly dance undulation and camel. We'll do those again next week and we'll actually drill them through with some music next week. And I also have, once you've mastered this, I have a video, a lesson just on creating beautiful camels. It's a little bit more advanced, so you need to actually have got the basic technique first. And we're making sure that you're doing a nice undulation with the chest leading forward and then coming back rather than it going that way. This is what we call a reverse camel. So this is a move, but you need to be able to do both of them. And this is definitely the one that you want to start off with because this is the one that we use most. So as I say, when you've got that mastered, you can have a look at my video. In fact, I will do a link to it. It's probably going to pop up here, belly dance camels. But have a look at that now, but don't actually try it out until you know that you can do a camel really, really nicely. Okay, let's move on. Let's do a very quick shimmy drill. I'm just going to give you a few tips about your shimmies. And one of the things that I said in a previous lesson, I think probably when I was first teaching it in the first lesson, is that one of the things that you can do is practice putting the weight a little bit further forward and also practice going back and see which one works best for you. If you have your heels a little, have weight back here, you'll find that you'll need to really move these legs pretty big, that's terrible grammar. You've got to move these knees sort of quite determinedly to get a movement going, but you can get a really big shimmy going that way. If you have your weight a little bit forward, the knees will be a little bit looser and you'll feel a little bit like you're running. The heels will almost feel like they're going to come off the ground, but obviously you don't want those heels to really come much off the ground. They might just lift a tiny little bit. Yeah, so you could just practice going back. That will tighten up your knees a little bit and you'll need to work that bit harder, but you will get a big shimmy. And then if you have the weight forward a little bit, it'll feel a little bit easier on the knees. Just make sure that you keep them nice and relaxed. What I would suggest you do is, one of the difficult things when we're first doing shimmies is building up to be able to do them for any length of time. So you start off and you're going, oh yeah, I can do that. And then it just kind of all seizes up a bit. What I would suggest is every day, immediately after you brush your teeth, do like 15 seconds of shimmies. Concentrating on trying to keep these knees nice and loose, not tightening up, yeah? Trying to get them even. If you're sitting down watching the TV or watching YouTube, sit down. Do you remember in the first lesson I showed you how to sit down and actually just get your knees moving like this? That's a really good thing to do as well. Remember when we're doing our shoulder shimmy to keep it nice and small. Don't punch away, yeah? You want to keep it nice and small. See how my shoulder's hardly moving? I'm not trying to do this. Very, very importantly that you try and relax the shoulders here. And the other thing is the shoulders going forward and back. They're not coming up and down, yeah? You're not kind of trying to do this because, yeah, sometimes it can be difficult for some people to relax up here and then it can be really difficult to do a shoulder shimmy. But don't worry if that's the case, it's just a case of keeping as relaxed as possible, keeping it as small as possible, and one day it will come. Right, let's do it. Oh, and also, once you've got good at your shimmies, I've got another video. So now I'm starting to ease you towards the more advanced videos. Once you're ready, I have a video specially for moving your shimmies, but that is definitely more advanced. But if you're looking at this now and thinking, yeah, I'm pretty good at my shimmies, check out this video and that will teach you how to move your shimmies and do circles and all sorts of awesome things. But yeah, that's for when you're really confident with those shimmies. Okay, so I've got my feet fairly close together. I've got my knees nice and soft, and I'm getting these knees going. Remember, don't go too fast. Try the weight a little bit forward. Try the weight a little bit backwards. We're going to add in some arms. Let's lift your arms up. Shoulders down. Keep going. Well done. And again. I'm going to turn around. Let's try and get them a little bit bigger. Really work those knees, keeping them nice and even. I tend to keep my weight a little bit forward. That's just the way I prefer. You can go back, as I said. Make sure those knees aren't moving too fast. Keep them nice and relaxed. Bit bigger. Okay, let's do a shoulder shimmy. Take a step back. Nice and relaxed. Let's put the weight forward onto the front leg. Let's put the weight onto one of the side legs. And over the other side. Okay, let's try that earthquake shimmy. That's both knees going together. Windmilling your arms. Squeeze your bum if you want to, and that will stop the girls from flying around too much. If you go a bit faster, that helps to keep the upper body a little bit more in control as well. Nice big one. Okay, but last of all, let's go back to our main shimmy. This is a alternate knee shimmy, if you like. Traditional shimmy. Arms coming up. Out. Cross. My little arm pattern. And down. And again. Halfway up. Cross. Out. And down. One more. Now, I'm trying to get a little bit more extra hip going in here. So I'm starting to think about lifting my hips up a little bit at the same time as my knees. When you're ready to do this, you can think about adding in a little bit of extra hips up and down. Give me a pose. We're going to finish off with some beautiful arms. Remember last week I taught you how to do beautiful snaky arms, and I also have a video on YouTube just for creating beautiful snaky arms, so you can check that one out and get a real breakdown of this gorgeous move. Remember that your hand goes away from the body, the elbow leads up and the elbow leads down, and you stroke like you're stroking a beautiful velvet curtain or whatever your little fantasy desires. Out and up, and we stroke. I've got a thought of George Clooney going on here, and stroke. Forward snaky arms. My hand comes up, also called Persian arms this, and then I'm going to stroke as if I am painting a wall. So it's coming up, yeah, the wrist leads up, and then the palm goes away from me, and the wrist is leading down here. One goes up. As they pass, they're passing in opposite directions, so one has the palm down like the fingers down, one has the fingers up. As I get to the extremities, remember I said last week, I'm going to flip. And I change, and I flip when I get to the extremities, and I change, and I flip. Keep your eyes on your hands and make sure that they stay going in the right direction. What you want to watch out for is that the hand comes up here, and then you start to go down, and then it does this. It's what I call diving down. Yeah, you don't want it to dive down. because then, yeah, it's going to go all very, very weird and wrong. So that's why I say to do a little flip as you change. Last of all, remember our beautiful hand turns. We're keeping our fingers long, our thumbs tucked in, and I'm actually turning around the wrist here. Yeah, can you see that I'm going around the wrist? So I'm not doing this, I'm not leading with the fingers. It's all in the wrist, going all the way round like this, yeah? And I'm coming inwards, as if I'm scooping something delicious out of a pot. Yeah, so I'm not flicking it away all over the kitchen. I'm bringing it in so it can go straight into my mouth. So in this way. And we can also, this is a new one for you, we can do a hand ripple. So here what I'm doing is I'm pressing with the inside of the knuckle. I'm keeping my fingers long and I'm pressing with the inside knuckle and I'm releasing. I'm pressing and release. I press and release and I press and release. What I'm not doing is I'm not going like this. Again, I'm not leading with the fingers. That makes it look very grabby. Yeah, you're doing this. You're pressing with this inside here. Yeah, as I say, the pads of your fingers. Push and push and push, push and push. Now if I do both, yeah, see, push and push and push, push down, down, down. So I've got my elbows up. I can have one hand above the other if you like, or side by side, but I've got one above the other so you can see. I've got my elbows up so they're not drooping down here. Of course, I have my rib cage lifted as well. And here we go. I'm pressing and pressing. So it can go under my chin here. Press and press and press and press. Okay, let's put on some music. Let's do some beautiful arms. Let's start off with some lovely snaky arms. So take the hand away from your body, up, and elbow leads down. And the other one. Away from your body, shoulder stays down. Remember to keep that posture good, your rib cage nice and level. Okay, we're going to do one and then the other. Let's go. One. And change. And change. Keep your rib cage nice and lifted. Don't let yourself slump. Remember that those hands come away from your body. So it gives you beautiful long arms. And breathe gently, slowly, relaxed. Okay, let's do the forwards one. Coming up. And I'm going to paint the wall. And the other hand comes up, and I'm going to paint the wall. Let's do one and then the other coming up. Flip, and change. Flip, and up. Flip. 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 Two more. Okay, let's get these hands turning. Nice long fingers. Thumb stays tucked together. Fingers are gently closed. Not spade-like like this, just softly closed. But they're also not spiky. All the way around that wrist. Hands coming in and in. And the other one. Yeah, remember to keep the fingers together, but not tightly together. They're just soft. Both of them. Let's bring them forward. Shoulders down. Let's do a ripple. So I'm pressing here, press, 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 press. And the other one is going to go press, press. Let's do both. Okay, let's have them under here. And we're going to press down. Remember to keep your elbows nice and lifted, shoulders down. Pressing with the pad here. Press down, release, press down, release, press down, release, press down, release, press down. Remember, it's not the tips of your fingers, it's the pads and your knuckles. Well done. I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back next week with our final lesson, some more great moves. So make sure that you subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the notification bell so you know when the next video comes out. I'll see you next week.